the meeting of the Waterworks and Lighting Commission to order and request review of minutes and approval.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Then we have an action item for this meeting on locating services. Who plans to present that and discuss it?
I can start it and Josh can fill in as needed, but every couple of years we go through the electric locating and just do an RFP to make sure we're getting right pricing and the pricing we want. It seems like you get the initial pricing when you come in, and then after that, after the initial term, it increases a little bit. So to work with our vendors, we do this. We sent it out to a number of companies that do the electric locating. The utility does their own water locates, just because of some of the complexities. So we got 4 bids back. You can see the bids on the paper in front of you. The numbers there are using what we had in 2022 as an estimate, so they charge us so much per ticket that they get, and then if there's additional work they need to do, then there's an additional fee on top of that. But kind of based on the numbers, we're recommending USIC. We've used them in the past, and they were all right. And,
Is there any rationale why that Excel is double? No.
Must
Where are
not
they
need the
from?
work.
Huh?
Must not need the work.
Oh, that's what I was wondering, if they were just bidding high because they didn't want it.
Yeah, they're not local at all, right? Excel?
I think they're more east
Yeah.
part of the state.
Okay.
Yeah, that's an amazing difference with the first two. So if there's no further discussion,
Well, I just have a question. If they go over the estimate from 2022, how are those rates determined?
So the numbers I put in here was just so you could see kind of what the annual
Correct.
cost is. What they do is they charge us so much per ticket. So whenever they get a call from Digger's Hotline, it's say $14 per ticket that the utility pays.
So it doesn't matter if they go back 2, 3 times, it's still a ticket.
Right, so I mean, if we have 5,000 or 20,000, we're gonna pay the same per ticket cost. I just, for comparative purposes, wanted to give you kind of what's the
Right.
annual cost of underground locates. for
I
the
was
utility.
just curious.
No, so yeah, they're not locked
Because if they don't
into-
start excavation within 10 days, they have to call it in again.
Right,
So
yep.
that'll be another ticket, and if construction doesn't start, it could be another ticket.
Correct.
But it doesn't take them nearly as long to do it the second, third, and fourth time. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
sure.
so how much does it typically run above and beyond what's quoted here?
Well, again, this is 2022's numbers, so this is what we would have paid to BMM, pretty close to those numbers.
It's driven by how many locates we have.
Right,
But what I'm saying is,
It's pretty standard year over year. We
Okay.
have roughly the same number of locates
Oh,
every year
okay.
and they quote you based upon,
per ticket.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Is it, do we pay for all of those? If I called for a locate in my yard, that gets charged to water and light?
Yes.
Yeah, so when you call Digger's Hotline, it's the utility that you're marking the utilities for is paying for that.
whether it's in the easement or not.
Well, I'm just thinking, with all the underground stuff we have now, and those, I guess I'm a little surprised that the utility takes the cost of that versus the person requesting it.
Well,
I
that's
think
why
if
they
the
did it.
customers, yeah.
They wouldn't do it.
They wouldn't do it.
Yeah, so that's the reason for it. The
Cost
utility pays
avoidance.
for it.
Right.
I mean, now we're
That,
paying
and it's
later.
a safety hazard to
Yeah.
them, and they,
Liability and stuff. Good question.
So I would entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve to go with the low bid from USIC, and that's a 3-year contract?
Correct.
Okay.
Do I have a second?
I'll
Second.
Go ahead. Right, second.
So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Safety report. Any comments on the safety report?
Probably be good to get out in the field again, Sean, huh?
Oh, I can't wait. You got the itch today a little bit. You guys were up at our new hydrant and it got out a little bit late, but yeah, I can't wait.
Okay, good.
It's a good time to see them.
That's when the training really begins, doesn't it?
That's when you see the training's really taking hold.
Thank you.
If there's nothing else, the line superintendent's report?
Might be a little bit off topic here, but didn't we order some new trucks, and have you had any updates on those?
Yep, Midstate just got the chassis we ordered in '21. It's being built right now. So if we have them by the end of the year, I would be surprised.
And we have another one ordered, is that correct?
Yep. Yeah, right now it's looking like everything is a year after the original, which was a year.
Should be the same on the city side too, any equipment.
I know they were talking about garbage trucks, and those are all but impossible to get, I guess. so.
And they're about 15% more now than when they were bid.
Are we gonna make her for another year?
Yeah, we hope. Yeah, they all pass their dielectrics. It's just a matter of keeping them mechanically running. You know, electrical gremlins start getting to be an issue.
If there are no more comments on the line superintendent's report, then we have the water department operations discussion.
It's amazing how stable the water table is, you know, over the 5 years.
Got a little bit of replenish going into the beginning of this year now.
Adam, are you planning on installing any new or any more auto flushers?
Possibly one more.
Just one more?
Yep.
You do one or
We
two
hit
a
most
year?
of the dead end areas where we have poor water quality, and that's what their purpose is,
Right.
or to prevent freezing. And so I think we have one more area we're gonna touch base.
Oh, okay, good.
Anything else for Adam? Customer service supervisors report?
Should be busy now, moratorium is off, right?
Yes, we're starting to get really busy.
Okay.
Disconnect calls went out this week, every day.
What's the story behind the storm sewer charges changes?
Well, the city hired a consultant to evaluate all of the storm sewer charges by parcel, and they had about 1,500 updates that we had to manually fix in our billing software.
So do they stay stable then?
Yes, the charge didn't change at all, but some of the charges by parcel changed.
Okay.
Is this trip thing working as good as you had hoped when we initially started this a few years ago?
Well, TRIP and SDC, it varies, it's gonna vary from year to year. It really depends. The utility bill is not gonna be able to trump somebody that owes child support or, you know, some type of that issue. We are getting money back. This year was lower than normal, and I don't know if that has to do with our aggressive collections, or it's maybe because last year we were coming out of COVID, but it is a little bit lower this year.
Okay,
But I mean, we're still getting payments in every single week.
all right. I know we were hoping, I guess, as landlords, you're always hoping that some of that comes in, and something is better than nothing, so.
Well, I'm hoping that they see a little bit of a change on some of theirs this next month when they get their landlord account notice. Because, you know, after people file their taxes is usually when we get the biggest surge in payments.
Sure, okay, that makes sense. Okay.
Any other questions for Lynn? I'm looking forward to those numbers coming back in line.
Me too.
Director of Finance report. Want to discuss a little bit about this cash flow and the drivers?
Yeah, and looking at this, you know, we are down for the year. The big thing, when you take a look at accounts payable, we've spent almost $500,000 more this year than we did last year, which is kind of twofold. We're buying things earlier just to kind of stay ahead of the curve of getting materials and supplies, and those materials and supplies are more expensive than they were last year. So it's kind of a double whammy right now. Not overly concerned at this point. I mean, we're better than we were last year at this point. But again, just kind of points towards the need of a rate adjustment.
Okay, that was the next question, so we'll be moving into that shortly.
We did file it after we had the meeting in January. We filed it. They've had several data requests. I think the PSC said about 200 days is what they try to get a rate case through, so we're in that process right now. But I did talk to them last week, and they still feel like we're in that timeline.
Did you get a sense at that Grand Rapids meeting? I mean, I see that they agreed to put it on
Yep,
the agenda, but.
we went last night and it passed unanimously,
Okay.
so we have that ability.
Good.
Starting now with Grand Rapids residents, so or account holders.
So the power cost adjustment is getting to be quite large in the wrong direction, huh?
It is, and again, that's kind of another point of the need of having the rate case to kind of get those power supply costs built into the rates appropriately.
See the industrial sales down, or is there any particular area where that's concentrated?
On the water side,
I believe that's right.
yeah, it would be primarily the mill is lower water usage than it had been in the past couple of years, or at least last year.
And our transmission cost for water, what's the driver that's causing that increase?
Those would be water main breaks. So were we ahead in water, did we have more water main breaks in '23 than we did in '22 at this point?
No, not at this point, no.
Okay, all right. That would be the main driver of those expenses, would be water main breaks.
Must be something else.
I can dig in and let you know,
Yeah.
but that's typically when there's, those increases are just the main cost right now going into that category is the water main and service breaks.
Any other questions for Jeff? Information Systems Administrator? Any questions for that?
Just trickling in a little at a time,
A
huh?
little bit at a time. We'll get it done.
If there's nothing else, let's move to the Conservation Manager's report.
Nice analysis of that St. Luke's.
Yeah, good job.
Thanks.
Nice to see an update on that green energy block program too.
What kind of dollars does this amount to for like St. Luke?
On the time of day, you're talking about the rate analysis?
Well, you have a whole comprehensive list here of changes. I was just wondering what the cumulative effect of those might be.
Typically don't like to talk dollar
Yeah.
amounts about specific customers, that's why we use percentages. But it does look like they have a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
They do, and
How would
I know I've shared that with Jim, and I know we've taken that out, and that's why you see the percentages. I can discuss it with you.
Okay.
But overall, if they were to make all of those changes, what would you
What would I
estimate
anticipate?
would be a combined savings?
Probably, definitely thousands of dollars a year.
Oh, I was just talking percentage.
Oh, well, on the time of day, it was 58% savings. Lighting, considering that half has been retrofitted, I gave you a 30% savings on the lighting side of it. They're not a huge user of power, so of course, it's not like the industrial side where they're gonna be saving tens of thousands of dollars, but there's a significant saving. I would say easily, if they took those recommendations from what their complete electric load is, they should be able to shave 30% of that bill annually.
That's pretty significant.
Yeah.
Electrical engineers report? When you talk about these PLC comments, what are those comments?
So in the PLC program, there's a lot of different, it's called ladder logic. So everything kind of processes from the top down, and each rung has like a name on it. On the main computer that it was written on, it tells you like what that rung does and all that stuff. And when I switched them over to my laptop, all those ladder names were gone. And all we have is just what it does. It doesn't tell me what it's for. So troubleshooting is a little harder without those on there. Today I actually worked out a way to fix that, so.
Okay. Any other questions for Tyler? Director of Engineering and Electrical Operations? How old was the PLC that failed in Philippi?
It'd have been when I started here, so about 2008. So all the PLCs are original for when I came on board.
Any other questions for Todd? General Manager's report.
Can you disclose, or do you know that third-party finance solar project that they approved? Who is that for, or where is that for?
Such a small project too.
Oh, it is.
I'll get back to you.
Okay, I thought it was like a mega
But
project or
it
something.
sounds like the utilities still want to appeal it. It took the PSC over 3 months to issue. I mean, they ruled on this months ago. Usually they come out after a week or two and have their written opinion. This took forever. I think they were afraid it was going to get appealed and then eventually end up in court, so that's what the plan is.
And that's what's happening, right?
Right.
What's the implication of Glue becoming a Dairyland Power member?
It may give, they're one of the few utilities in the state that are long on generation. It may give us, we signed that deal with Dairyland several months ago when the market started going crazy to kind of get more of a fixed price going forward instead of having it on the market. And so becoming a member of Dairyland would provide us more opportunities to maybe get some good power supply pricing, and that's the whole reason behind it. We'll see if it happens, because they typically like to have the utility itself be the member, so then all the GLU members would have to join, but we're not real fond of letting them join individually. So that's why we've made the request to have GLU become the actual member. So we'll see what shakes out. And then
So
we-
it would be like a glue purchase and a glue membership, not an individual
Correct.
utility.
And GLU doesn't necessarily want them to have the ability to go around GLU directly to the member, and that's what may happen if they were to allow members to join.
What do they use for power generation, gas or?
They've got they still got a coal plant in operation. They just bought a large natural gas plant from WE. They have a few smaller renewable projects.
Any other questions for Jim?
And I'm gonna have Roxanne, we still have some heavy lifting to do in a special commission meeting. Well, one, we still gotta, we'd like to give the new commissioners a tour of our facilities. We may wait till May on that one to ensure good weather. But we still gotta do the, circle back from your audit requests. We've got key performance indicators, investments. What else?
Simplified water rate case.
Yeah, and the simplified water rate case that we wanna get filed.
Okay.
So I don't know, we'll maybe looking at next week or following week. Is everybody gonna be close to home for the next couple of weeks?
I will.
First week of May is a disaster for me.
Well, we'll try to get in by then.
Last week of April doesn't really work for me.
Okay.
Thursday and Friday possibly, but the first 4 days we're out of town.
Try to make it work for everybody.
Review of accounts payable.
So that transportation utility remittance, is that going well from a city standpoint, from
Seems to
a
be,
utility standpoint?
it seems to be, I know they're starting to plan some work with the money, so, but I do believe that it may be being challenged in court again, so we'll see.
So, sorry then, could you explain again the $407,000 for the storm and sewer remittance?
Sure, so that's just when you, on your utility bill,
Yeah.
the sewer part, that's just, it's the city's utility, so we just give them that money every month.
Okay, so that's nothing to do with the 1,500? Oh, okay, all right, thank you.
Meg water membership. What the hell is that?
So,
That's one of our memberships. They do the lobbying for us. If there's legislation changes, PSC rule changes that negatively affect water utilities in the state.
And what are or is TTHM evaluation lab samples?
So we do additional testings randomly to check for what that is called disinfection byproducts. So anytime disinfection byproducts reach a certain level, we'll do additional sampling to be proactive to make sure we're still fall below the MCL.
Okay, so you do that at remote points in the?
They're the 4 designated spots the DNR has us test.
Okay. And you're looking for chloramines and that type of thing?
Yeah, there's total chloroform's one of them, so there's multiple chemicals in the TTHMs and the HAA5s, which are both considered disinfection byproducts. Anytime it's organics combining with chlorine is what's causing that.
Okay, and this water engineering and consulting, is that a residual from our pipe line?
So that could be the auto flusher as well, to do the design and permitting for the auto flusher, that has to be approved by the DNR.
Okay.
What are pole bunk materials?
So if you drive out that way and look at the pole yard, they rebuilt a lot of the pole bunks where they keep the poles off the ground. Just since we had low inventories, it was a good time to do it.
Okay.
We were getting warping on the longer poles, so we
Oh,
got more
okay.
supports.
Oh, okay.
Something that lasts a real long time now.
Okay, thank you.
And 114,000 for insurance renewal?
That is our liability insurance and our auto insurance and all our insurances that we have with Spectrum Insurance. Property insurance.
Excludes health. huh?
Yep, that's just like our workman's comp, our auto, our liability.
And that includes the cyber insurance?
I believe that includes the cyber. And there was one more for a smaller policy that we have for something else, but I think that the cyber was in there too.
Yeah, there was another 1,000, like liability
Yeah,
from Spectrum.
right, that was for some of the bigger liability policy that we have.
Any other questions on accounts payable? Not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor?